8 most beloved classic cars of all time. Exotic cars are becoming more sought after and more expensive as the years go by. Car collectors spend huge sums on the purchase of classic and historically valuable cars. It is not strange, because each of these cars is a part of history, a symbol of the glory of their emblematic owners, and a whole era that is embodied in the metal of their parts. Today, we bring you 8 of the most adorable cars in the world. Join us to meet them and you will be surprised. 8. Janis Joplin's Porsche. If there is an icon of what could be the psychedelic art world of the 1960s, it would be the image of Janis Joplin cruising down the highway in her colorfully painted Porsche 356. The California sun shining on her head and the Pacific wind in her hair, round frames on her glasses, the radio wand, and a bottle of Southern Comfort in the glove compartment. This 1964 Porsche 356 was ivory when singer Janis Joplin bought it in 1968. She paid her traveling companion Dave Richards to paint it. Richards' work illustrates the history of the universe and includes images of Joplin's band, Big Brother, and the holding company. This car was in the parking lot of the Landmark Motor Hotel in Hollywood, where Joplin died in the fall of 1970. They gave it to his family and later put it on display at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Take a good look at it. You may not buy it, but you can paint your little car with similar artwork and dream Janice. 7. Mercedes-Benz 300 SC 1956. The ultra-luxurious 300 SC marked the return of Mercedes-Benz to the world of luxury cars after World War II. Powered by the same engine that powers the famous SL sports car, the 300 SC had enough power to smoothly cruise the roads of California near the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center, where it is currently for sale. The future of the luxury car market was very uncertain in the years immediately following World War II, with rationing still in effect in parts of Europe until the 1950s. And with most German manufacturers bombed by the Allies, it wasn't entirely clear in the late 1940s and early 1950s who was going to build or buy luxury cars. But they encouraged Mercedes to build this coupe based on the 300 that was called the 300s. The car was available as a hardtop coupe, cabriolet, and roadster. It was a great success for Mercedes and challenged the top luxury brands. 6. Benz patented motor wagon. The Benz patented motor wagon is generally credited with being the world's first gasoline-powered car. This replica is the creation of Mercedes-Benz. It is currently housed at the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center in Irvine, California, where they restore valuable classic Mercedes. Although it has only 3/4 horsepower, it was scary to drive, as the seat is very high and the controls are very rudimentary. Every 2 years, taking part countries can propose documents to include the UNESCO Register. Joint proposals from several countries are also possible. The condition explains why the proposed document possesses a unique character and worldwide importance because of its influence on art, politics, and society. In 1886, Carl Benz filed a patent for his automobile at the Imperial Patent Office in Berlin. This invention is considered the birth of the automobile. It has changed and shaped the individual mobility worldwide to this day. 5. Shelby Daytona Coupe. No, it's not an original Shelby Daytona Coupe from the mid-1960s. Only 6 were made, and they are currently among the most valuable cars in the world. This is the 50th anniversary American recreation of the Shelby. It looks exactly the same, but is made with modern engineering. It's also a bit longer and more comfortable than the tiny original race cars. The Shelby Cobra Daytona Super Coupe is one of the most radical and impressive evolutions of the Shelby Cobra program. The Shelby Cobra's immediate success on the Lehman circuit in 1965 was followed by that of its radical coupe version, the Shelby Cobra Daytona, developed especially as a more aerodynamic variant for tracks such as Le Mans, where the American model was outclassed by higher top speed of more streamlined coupes such as the Ferrari 250 GTO, which reached higher speeds on the famous Moose Lane Hunadarius Straight, 6 kilometers long. 4. Corvette Jet Vet. It is a 1978 Corvette with an 880 horsepower Pratt & Whitney jet turbine. Vince Granatelli put the powerful turbine originally designed for an electric generator in the car. Granatello's father, Andy, had a racing team with turbine-powered Lotus cars that toured the tracks in the 1960s. The turbine doesn't drive the car with its combustion gases, but spins a crankshaft that makes the car go very fast. It doesn't have a huge turbofan with afterburner taken from an F-22 Raptor or any top-of-the-line fighter. However, the gas turbine under the C3's long hood sounds like a real jet and generates no less than 880 horsepower. Despite the enormous set of wheels, one would assume this is a typical 1970s era Corvette. However, that would change when the Pratt & Whitney ST6B gas turbine comes to life. Originally designed for helicopters, the engine fits just under the nose of the C3, but goes deep into the firewall. It's a shaft-driven jet rather than thrust-driven, so it's connected to an automatic transmission that sends power to the rear wheels. Awesome, isn't it? 3. Delahaye 1951. Between the two world wars, French car designers created some of the most beautiful automobiles ever made in the world. The Mullen Museum of Southern California is dedicated to these cars from such manufacturers as Voisin, Talbot Lago, Bugatti, and Delahaye. The 1951 Delahaye represented the end of this era, as the company was struggling to stay afloat in the economically beleaguered Europe following World War II. Although it was a death rattle, it is a beautiful car, and was a thrill to drive along the California coast. The design was based on the old and well-proven Type 135, but the chassis was lowered and the engine had a higher compression ratio, now developing 152 horsepower. Introduced in the summer of 1950, the all-French Delahaye VLR Jeep was approved by the military and a first order of 4,000 vehicles was placed. 2. Corvette Purple People Eater. In its day, this 1959 Corvette won the SCAA National Championship in its class. By 1974, it had fallen into obscurity and was purchased in a trade for $800. After doing some research, the new owners discovered the car's racing history and restored its purple paint. The car will be sold at the Barrett-Jackson auction in Scottsdale, Arizona, USA in January, and bidding is expected to exceed $1 million. The Purple People Eaters were arguably the most famous Corvettes in the world in the late 1950s. They belonged to Nicky Chevrolet of Chicago, and in a stroke of marketing genius, were painted metallic purple and named after the hit fashion song, The Purple People Eater by Sheeb Woolley. In the ensuing years, the car was restored twice and shown around the country, and quite impressively has remained in Chip Miller's collection since he purchased it with Ken in 1974. 1. Lamborghini Mira 1969. The Lamborghini Mira is one of the most important supercars ever made. In fact, thanks to its low body and engine mounted just behind the seats, it became the model for the entire supercar category. It is currently considered the most beautiful mass-produced car ever made. It sold for $1 million at the Kino Brothers New York City Car Collections auction. The Mira, first called the P400, enjoyed a constant process of evolution and improvement during its production cycle, and in 1968, the S, or Spinito, tuned version was introduced, developing 370 horsepower, upgraded brakes, and numerous other improvements. It had more performance, more luxury, and more stability with better braking. 0 to 100 miles per hour was achieved in 5.5 seconds, and 140 miles per hour in less than 30 seconds, with a top speed of 177 miles per hour. Did you know any of these amazing cars? Leave us a comment on what you thought of this list. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us a like and hit the bell so we can let you know when we upload new material. See you next time!